Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm going to do a brief little talk. I want to talk about what happened up at the New Bedford House of Correction with the ICE detainees. And what I seen today was kind of disturbing because the sheriff had a press conference outside of the jail. Then he allowed the press to go in and videotape the unit that the ICE detainees had their uprising in. Let me clarify for those of you who may not know me. Many years ago, over 30 years ago, I had my issues with the law and spent some time at that facility. Not that unit, not even that facility, a different one that they have. But anyways, so I just saying that to let you know I know a little bit about the way the operations work, and what I found interesting was the media made a real big thing about the damage, and when you look at it, 26 men on double bunks, uh, but yet none of the bunks were flipped over. Um, I was in the 1980 riot uh, at the Ash Street facility, and there every bed in the facility that was flipped over. Mattresses were burnt, TVs were knocked off the walls, toilets were ripped out of the floors. I mean, this one didn't seem to be that bad, and that's good. That's good for everyone concerned, including the taxpayers, and it appeared none of the correctional officers was hurt. So thank God for that. But anytime you take a bunch of people and you stick them in a unit like that, uh, it doesn't take much for something to start up. If you have a few people that are uprisers, the rabble risers, uh, and if they are somebody with a strong attitude that others are afraid of, or they're the type that people follow, it doesn't take much to cause a work stoppage, a hunger strike, or a rebellion. I think a lot of the fault of all of this is because a couple of Congress people were calling for the jails in Massachusetts to let out ICE detainees, which, if you don't know what that is, that's the people that are picked up in this country illegally. Now, that facility has a number of them that are there for very serious crimes, rapes, house invasions, shootings, stabbings, trafficking, heroin, cocaine, and other um, heinous crimes. So it's a very dangerous unit. Um, and the fact that congressmen are saying, let these people out because of COVID 19, that they may get it in there and then be released and spread it around. Well, if you know a little bit about how it works, and I believe I'm correct, those detainees, most most every one of them, are on their way back to wherever they came from. They're being held there because the judge felt they were a danger to society, so he held them there. Uh, when their cases come up in court, regardless of the outcome, they are illegal, they will be sent out. So the theory of catching COVID 19 and releasing it into the community is, in my opinion, crazy, ludicrous. The fact that you want to release people with those types of crimes is crazy. Um, you have people in jail right now that are there because they couldn't afford their child support. They are there for multiple traffic infractions, drunk driving. Um, Maybe they cashed some bad checks because they were broke and they needed the money. So those are uh, crimes. but they're not the type of crime that you can compare to these guys that we're speaking about. These individuals, a lot of them have 30, 60, 90 days, 120 days left on their sentence before they go home. You also have a certain amount of people who have already seen the parole board, been accepted, and have a parole date, which means that at this point they have to find a place to live, a place to work. It has to be approved by the parole board or the parole officer. And once that's done, when their date comes, which is usually 30, 60, and 90 days away, they're released to the community to live there. They must hold a job. They must give you analysis. A lot of them go home with curfews and counseling and stuff. It's pretty intense setup. They're not letting them go home. Non-violent offenders, or even if you consider drunk driving a violent crime, because it can be, it's least heinous than rape, house invasion, selling fentanyl, which we know kills everybody. So I guess it baffles the mind when I say, why wouldn't you let people out who have already completed 80% or at the very minimum for parole, 50% of their sentence, who are non-violent or very low on the violent level, done most of their time, been approved to go home? Why aren't you letting them go home? Why are you letting people go home that are in the country committing heinous crimes? Once they hit that street, that you know they're not going back to the country. Now they're going to get a gun. They're going to buy some drugs. They're going to sell some drugs. And I shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't say that because I don't know what they're going to do. But taking what they did to get where they are, you would assume they're not going to go home and start going to Sunday school. That means that the authorities will not see them come court date. They will be chasing them. The ICE unit for immigration will be out chasing them again. Now you have people already caught, housed, locked up. You're going to let them over, put everybody at risk. God knows if they're going to have a shootout with the cops or the ICE when they are found. It just seems reckless on the part of Congress people to say that. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I have had lots of problems with the treatment of inmates in that facility and others. The fact that their nutrition level is minimal at best. And because they have a dietitian on staff that gives them a diet that most dogs wouldn't survive on, but it's legal, so these guys can eat it, doesn't make it right. There's a lot of things that I think could be changed, but you know what? A lot of people think they're there for committing a crime. They're lucky to get food. So, you know, there's all levels to this, you know, and all types of opinions. I would caution people that think that that's the way to go, is that remember one thing: at all times, these people are coming back into your community. And if they're there a year, 2.5, whatever, being underfed, treated less than the way many believe they should be treated, they're going to come back to the community very bitter, very angry, and they're going to want to lash out. And the community is where they're going to lash out. So sometimes, you know, you think you're doing the right thing by taking away all these privileges, locking them down, treating them like animals. But the reality is, when they come back, you're going to face them again, and they're probably going to be meaner and want more vengeance, as opposed to treating them like a human being. While you got them there, give them some counseling for their drug problem. Give them domestic violence training while they're there. Make it mandatory. Give them AA and NA meetings to go to that more than 6 people can attend. Um, you know, and you don't have those types of issues as much. But I don't know what the sheriff's going to do. I don't think the press conference did him any justice at all. I think that I understand he's upset and he's lashing out because he feels like they've been picking on him for months and they have been on his ass quite a bit. Um, but I don't know if that's going to help because he has to remember that the money that runs those facilities come from the state and the federal government. And if you're going to be a thorn in their side, just think of how they're going to react when you request something. So I just wanted to talk about that. It's kind of crazy. We're letting these dangerous people out while we could be releasing overcrowding with people who have already served most of their time. I don't get it. I don't know. To those two congressmen, Kennedy and Elizabeth Warren, I think you need to check yourself. I think your liberalism has gone so far that it's doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense. And you wonder why people like me have left the Democratic Party. It's just gone crazy. So that's about all I have on that. So you can follow this on Facebook. You can follow Fall River Daily Report, Fall River Daily News, and catch Attorney Wolf Flanagan and I on our next podcast show, which will probably be in 1 or 2 weeks based on how things look out there in the community. Stay safe, wear your mask. Remember now, you gotta wear your mask unless you're 6 feet away from someone. So do what's best for everybody. God bless and take care.